Hello again. In this video, I'm going to continue to show you what an ASP.NET MVC framework is all about. Last time we create a controller and we return some string back to the viewer, and to show you how the controller actually render information back to the user. One thing that I forgot to mention last time is this method name right here could be anything. The reason we name index is because that's the starting point of the web application. But you can change the starting point of the application by changing the routing right here. If you have a different controller, and you want to call a different method or action on that controller, you can change it here. And when you start the application, it's going to call us a typical controller and method. Let's say this time I'm going to create another controller called employee. And in employee, I don't have, let's say, I'm going to use string for now. It's easy. I call display. I'm going to turn a basic string. And then now when I run this, it's going to call the all controller, because in my routing there's car index. That's what we return here. Instead of that, you can do this. It still return the same thing. But let's say I want to call the employee control, and I want to call. Right now, I don't have the index. Usually, if I have the index method in there, and if I call employee control, it's going to call the index method first, because that's how it is designed. Right now, I don't have the index. That's why it's going to give me an error. So I know there's a display action. I can call it directly like this, and it's going to return the information for me right here. Okay, so that is very much about a controller. Now move on to data model. Let me add a data model, something simple. Something. Let me add an employee instead. Actually, now I'm working on employee, so I'm going to change this whole thing to employee to be my starting point. And display is going to be my first method, or my first action. So now I'm going to go in the model, I'm going to create new item. So I'm going to call employee. I'm going to create an employee class. Within this employee class, I'm going to do the normal get and set, just like any on a class. So public string employee ID get set public string employee for name. So you don't have to call employee at the beginning of any method, because this type is employee already. You know it is employee, and you can just call it full name. Next information is the DOB, and this information is going to be date. This is the kind of object that I want to. This is the kind of data model that I want to use in my web application. So now I have employee, instead of return string, now I want to return the employee object. So I'm going to apply it right here. Actually, I gotta add it to my using statement here. Add to my header in order for me to take advantage of the IntelliSense. So now my employee type is available for me to create employee. Create new employee. I just dynamically assign value in here. ID, I'm gonna just do generic ID. 1, 2, 3, 4. And full name is gonna be John Dickinson. And day of birth is gonna be date 10. January 1st, 1987. So now I have the employee object. I want to take a string. Let's see what kind of signature it does have. Okay, year 1987, month January 1st. There we go. So now I have the employee object. I can just return it right here. Return the employee type. Now let's run it and see what it does. Okay, so it returned the employee, but the browser doesn't understand it. That's why it display. It's called a display method of the object. That's why it displayed the namespace of the type. So in order for you to return this employee object back to the client side or browser, you have to wrap it inside a view. So the normal one is going to be most of the time people use return action result, and then view is a derived type from action result. So you can call a view, and you can put employee right in here. Okay, so now run it. Okay, what this said is that you don't have the view for employee action display yet. So you can see I'm going from generically return a string, and now I have a data model which is employee. I generate the employee, and I want to return this whole employee back to the browser, but the browser don't understand it because right now I have to write something to interpret the object type. So that is where the view comes in. So now I'm going to go here and do edit view, and default is going to take on the display view right here, matching up the name. I'm going to use the layout here. It's a master page. Then hit add. Okay, so now here is the default HTML format that for every view that you create, it's going to take on that form. So let's delete that, and now the data returned back to the client side browser is going to be employee type, and I know that. So the object return type is model, like that. If I just call that object right here and run it, see what happens. I like to run to check out things. You have to play with it to run it a couple of times and just go dive in and start doing work, and you start running. The same thing, it's going to return, it's going to call that model right here, and it's going to call the display name method, or you can do this. Okay, so now instead of calling the display namespace method, I'm going to call each method of the object and to display the real name, div. So I'm going to do model, and then there's going to be ID, first one, and then I'm going to have 3 more. The next one is going to be full name. The next one up to that is DOB, just like that. So now, if I save and run, you're going to see 3 pieces of information that this employee right here have. And this display directly to the end user. There you go. The ID, full name is John Dickinson, and the date. When you view this source information, you see the HTML header and all the relevant information to build up the web page and render it present to the client. So in this video you learn additional model and additional view, and now we complete the cycle of data view data model view controller, MVC. So now you can make this more advanced by connecting to SQL, which is on the next video I'm going to show. And you're going to store the data, and you're going to get the list back and display the list instead of display the entire employee. I'm going to show you how to do the CRUD method, which is read, update, delete, and insert on the next video. So thank you for watching, and I hope you find it useful and enjoy programming.